The living standards we enjoy in New Zealand today owe much to engineering. Despite some extraordinary achievements, engineers in the early 1900s were frustrated with a range of matters that will still resonate with the engineering community today. They were concerned about the misspend of public money, complaints about variable quality of engineering work, hindered by engineering's lack of status, and bothered by the community's lack of understanding of what engineers did. The climate was ripe for change. After initially engaging with the New Zealand Institute of Surveyors in 1892, engineers sought an organisation representing their specific needs. Engineers fell into three categories: central government, local government, and others working in industry or on their own account. When local government engineers formed their own institute in 1912, others, particularly those with links to British engineering institutions or working for central government, argued for a wider body. On 19 March 1914, the local government institute disbanded in favour of a single national body, the New Zealand Society of Civil Engineers. With Robert West Holmes as its first elected president, IPENZ had begun. After World War I, the Society lobbied for an Engineers Registration Act to improve professional standards. A bill reached Parliament in 1919, but it took until 1924 before an act was passed. Then, working with its governing board, the Society began to address the issue of competence standards. In 1925, the Society argued for a National Bureau of Standards. Subsequent events, like the 1929 Murchison and 1931 Hawke's Bay earthquakes, brought technical standards to the fore. While a government inquiry continued and new building bylaws were developed, the Society fostered the formation of the New Zealand Standards Institute. The Society's name was a contentious issue during the 1930s because it did not recognise the breadth of engineering disciplines practiced in New Zealand. In 1937, it was renamed the New Zealand Institution of Engineers. However, it was a far from diverse organisation. It retained British institution traditions, and diversity within the membership was low. Young engineers' dissatisfaction with the representation caused a rift in the Society's membership in 1940. In 1943, they formed a breakaway group, the Professional Engineers Association New Zealand. It took until 1959 for re-amalgamation to occur. About this time, the main diversity issue was whether engineering technicians should be allowed to join the institution. It was agreed to allow this. Women were rarely engineers until the 1970s and had a low profile in the profession until Gretchen Cavell became IPENZ's first female president in 1998. In the 1960s, environmental and social concerns came to the fore. The institution's response was to take a leading role. Later that decade, it became a foundation member of the World Federation of Engineering Organisations. Working with Australia, the institution succeeded in taking sustainability to the heart of the global profession. IPENZ was walking the talk. In 1995, the business-based code of ethics was widened to include social and environmental responsibility. In this respect, the institution proudly led the world. During the 1960s, the model of a learned society with a national conference and regional branch activities was widened. Divisions, such as those in local government engineering and consulting engineering, were introduced. International conferences were held, and from these the first national organised technical groups were developed. Today, the institution boasts 21 technical and special interest groups, collaborating technical societies and student chapters.
I cannot recall a time when our nation has been confronted with so many challenges in which engineering and technological expertise is so vital to the success of our nation.
The desire to change the institution's image resurfaced again in the 1980s. The breakaway Professional Engineers Association had suggested the word professional was important. Concern over public misunderstanding of white-collar engineers' role had never disappeared. And in 1982, the institution added professional to its name. Degree accreditation was introduced in 1980. What is now Lincoln University was first assessed, followed by Canterbury, Auckland and Massey. In 1989, IPENZ was a foundation signatory to the Washington Accord. During the 1990s, membership classes for engineering technologists were created. At about the same time, a governance review resulted in the large council governing IPENZ being replaced by a streamlined board structure. In 2000, the Honourable Nick Smith got a private members' bill for chartered professional engineers into Parliament. Although changed significantly, the bill was finally enacted using a consolidated professional body and registration model. It was now easier to set and enforce professional standards. IPENZ's international leadership role had also increased. It joined all 6 multinational agreements and catalysed the International Engineering Alliance's creation, with its secretariat housed with IPENZ. The international exemplars the Alliance adopted have a strong relationship to our Chartered Professional Engineer Competence Standard. During the last decade, IPENZ's international leadership role has extended to include mentoring the embryonic South Pacific Engineers Association. Today, students and graduates make up almost half the institution's membership, and ways to represent their professional needs are developing. While the profession's immediate future is in safe hands, the government has turned to the institution to help encourage more students into engineering and technology. The profession's contribution to 21st century New Zealand is high. IPENZ has come of age.